My name is Jack Sherman, and next week I will be 73 years old. I was in the Army from my 17th year until I was 20. I served a 3-year enlistment. Then I married, felt called to the ministry. I pastored 3 different churches over a span of 40 years. Then I was asked to be in a position running a native mission up in Canada administratively, and I accepted that. For the last 10 years now, which includes that time, I started doing youth work because I saw that there were a lot of kids that had no interest in the gospel or God or much of anything, and there had to be something other than church to reach them. And so I endeavored to start community youth programs.
I did not grow up in a faith-based family as Jack did. I came to Jack's program as a United Methodist. We both got involved with 4-H projects, both of us working from churches, and this was after I had found my faith, and we realized how important that connection was to these youngsters. 4-H-like projects then could draw kids into mission work and into missionary programs as well and be very effective. Somehow we got together at some point with the 4-H, compared those notes, and we both had similar thoughts on that. So when Jack Sherman began community youth programs, it was a program that I was drawn to. At some point in my ministry, serving as a pastor of 3 churches, I realized God was calling me to mission work. Even though I was very comfortable being a spiritual leader in a church, God was calling me to go where the gospel hadn't been heard yet.
Thank you.
Our ministry started out as an outreach primarily to Native youth, and it was an attempt to connect heritage with where they were at now. And so we do such things as archery, outdoor sports. Archery is our flagship program. So we do archery, we do a craft, we make bows, as I mentioned, then we connect that with a character lesson. And so we put the 3 things together, and we've had quite a bit of success of kids saying, hey, this is great. My goal for reaching them is ultimately to share with them the gospel of Jesus Christ. However, most of them that we come in contact with are at risk. Suicide is rampant, substance abuse, alcoholism, and various other problems. In some of the northern reserves, the kids they literally will bust things up, do anything to get in jail, which is a federal prison down province, because it is better living there than it is back home. So we're dealing in some cases with some kids that are very dissatisfied with life. It means nothing. We hope to share with them the purpose of life and also the best way to live life to its fullest and give them hope. After a few years in the program, I saw that one of the grandmothers, and it's possible to have young grandmothers, she was, I still don't know her age. This grandmother that had been bringing her son to the program over several years, she said, do you have anything you would do with just women so we wouldn't have to do it with the kids? And I said, sure. And so we had a program we called Heritage Mentoring Program. A little while later, I got a call from Canada, and one of the resident missionaries there said, do you remember Joan? Well, of course I did. And said, I met with Joan, we did lunch, and Joan said, my life's a mess. That wasn't a secret. Everybody in the community knew Joan's life was a mess. She wasn't the only one. But Bev said, well, ask God to help you. And Bev said, Jack. She said, I don't know how. And Jack, I told her how to seek God. And she did. Time went on. About a year, she became a part of a local church, and she was baptized. And I was not in the area for her baptism. But one of our workers there said, that was pretty cool what Joan had to say at baptism. And I said, what'd she say? And he looked at me and he said, "You don't know what she said?" I said, "No." He said, "She said, when I first met Grandpa Sherman, I thought, what's his game? Why is he doing this?" And so I kept checking up on him to try to figure out, what's he doing this for? But there came a time when I realized, hey, he's got something here. And I started trying to figure it out. If it wasn't for the youth programs, I would not be a Christian today. And the happy thing is, we had a women's program up in Blind River, Ontario, Canada, about 3 weeks ago now. This woman was one of the participants. It was Circle of Hope is what we call it. And it was where people that either have been or are currently addicted to something or some things. And she was a participant there, and I'm thinking, okay, there was a time when she was entangled with this. Now she is free, and she's helping others find the way that she got free. It's exciting. That's probably the most exciting single one.
Right here, and this is true of anywhere we go, there's a tremendous blessing in looking at these youngsters, getting a chance to share in a few hours of their lives. Their lives are so precious. To think that God has enabled us to be in a position to be part of their lives, even for a few hours, is an awesome responsibility. But there's a tremendous satisfaction in knowing that if in some small way we help them get better adjusted to themselves and to their lives, and be able to live quality, productive lives. And if they accept the gospel, then that really is the icing on the cake.
Oh, I split my arrow.
That is a bullseye.
Yeah.
It's a Robin Hood and a bullseye.
That doesn't happen very often, does it?
There's a bull. Shoot it like that.
You get to take that home and put it up on your wall. I'm sure Grandpa Sherman would like to do that. You're going to have to get another set of arrows.
We're active in Ontario, Canada, South Dakota, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Tennessee, Michigan, and New York. We now have 3 teams in Canada that are also doing community youth programs. I envision a number of teams going into areas, doing something no greater than what we're doing, but making a bigger difference because it's starting to multiply. Last year, we had a young lady that I became acquainted with at what is called Jungle Camp. We had one candidate say, could I do a 6-week internship with you? This year, after being at the Jungle Camp of this Bible college in Pennsylvania, this year we've had 3. And the realization that really people are all of a sudden realizing there are ways of connecting with young people outside of church, in engaging them and presenting something that can make a difference not only in their life, but in the world.